Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
Welcome into First Pitch for Monday, October 18th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Bryan Leonard and Tony Finn of WagerTalk.com. We are talking American League Championship Series here. Boston Red Sox, Houston Astros tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, first pitch. So we'll get you the best way to bet this on today's show. But without further ado, Bryan Leonard here from WagerTalk.com. Bryan, happy Monday morning to you. Excited to hear your opinion on tonight's matchup.
Yeah, happy Monday to everyone. New week, and let's get some winners. One play up in baseball today, and it'll be interesting to see how this one works out. The key number from baseball is winning this third game, and the line's pretty much a pick 'em. So it should be a lot of fun. We get a total of about 9 here. It's been an offensive game plan so far for both teams. They've had a lot of success, so we'll have to see how this works out. But line's basically what I expected it to be. Houston against lefties. I talked about this the other day. They got a 117 WRC plus, which is 17% better than a league average team, and number one in Major League Baseball. And if you take a look at what Rodriguez has done against them, hasn't been pretty. He's faced them twice this year. He's given up 12 earned runs in 9.1 innings. Go back his last 5 starts against the Houston Astros, 35 average game score, 10.18 ERA. We have already found in the playoffs thus far, and it's the new baseball, where the starters are out there for a limited amount of time. And I think that actually helps Boston a little bit here, that if Rodriguez starts to get knocked around a little bit, they could pull him out early and get to the bullpen, although Boston's had problems with their bullpen for much of the season. Really, a lot of times people will be handicapping the starting pitchers. And in the regular season, it makes a whole lot of sense. In the playoffs, it seems to be whenever there is somebody struggling on the mound, it's all hands on deck. And we've seen that, out of these series so far. We get Scherzer comes in the last series and gets a save and comes back and starts a game, comes in relief. So I like that as a baseball fan, but it makes it harder to handicap these games because you don't know how long the pitchers are going. Jose Urquidy faced Boston one time in his career, and that was early this year. 70 game score, 1.50 ERA was very good. Don't know if we learned anything out of that. Looking at how these two pitchers have pitched the last 7 games, they're both about league average. Rodriguez a 49 game score, Urquidy 41. ERA is 4.4, 4.35, pretty close together here. The bats from Houston have been pretty consistent all the way through the playoffs, scoring 5 runs or more here in 9 straight games. So that's pretty impressive when you get to the pitching that you find in the playoffs. And as I talked about, when teams go to the playoffs now, every man is up on deck. So you don't get these blowout situations like you do in the regular season. Boston's bats have been playing very well. They've only had 1 game where they didn't score more than 4, going all the way back to the last series against Washington. So offense could be the major situation tonight. I prefer Houston as a slight underdog here. I've talked in the past about Houston being very good against teams with a winning record, and I like them against lefties. And if you go back the last 30 games, both teams have won 17 of their 30, so they're very equally matched. Not a lot of advantage here in the line, but if you're going to make me pick a game, I'll take Houston at plus 102 and slightly to the over.
I like the analysis there, Bryan. And Tony, coming to you next. I'll tee it up for you here, and then we can come back around just to finalize best bets and final thoughts here for the MLB playoffs. So teeing it up for tonight's matchup, 8 o'clock Eastern, Houston at Boston in Fenway. Urquidy versus Rodriguez, the lefty, going for the Red Sox, seeing minus 112, I would say, would be about the consensus line here. That's the Red Sox as we're talking right now. So that would put the Houston Astros as the short away underdog here, Tony. Houston, you can get primarily about plus 102 on the money line. Looks to be a total of 9. I don't know, Tony. It's been kind of high scoring here from both of these two teams. Going to ride their bats as long as possible. Kind of liking that over, but interested in your opinion here tonight, Tony. Astros and Red Sox from Fenway.
Well, first, as far as what Brian outlined, I agree. Here's the caveat with your quitting Houston's starter tonight is that he has not pitched since the regular season finale where he pitched. That was October 3rd, that Sunday. I believe that was Sunday. Where he pitched against Oakland, and he was 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 2 of them were home runs. He struck out 3, and he walked 1. A little bit fly ball heavy in that particular game where he was 6 to 13 ground balls to fly balls. But for the most part, this is a guy who is going to strike out almost 1 per inning. This season, 107 innings pitched, 90 strikeouts, a little short, walked 19. That's a pretty good ratio, walks to Ks. If the umpires, they've done some switching on the umpires this year, which has been a little bit unusual, guys, where I had a play a couple nights ago, or last night as well, where the rotation would have positioned the umpire to be a certain individual, obviously coming from first to home plate, and they weren't there. And the only thing I've been trying, I made a couple calls, and I'm not sure what happened. They do have what they do in this situation in playoffs. They have somebody who sits they're basically a replacement. They're not dressed they're dressed, but they're not actively on the field. And they have that just in case, whereas opposed to the regular season, they would just be short an umpire per se. So if the umpire is Hoy, if the umpire is Laz Diaz, who's what I've been told, and who should be the umpire tonight, then Laz is consistent, regardless of what night it is. Is it a getaway night? Is it a Sunday that where the players and the umpires all want to make sure they don't miss their plane because both teams are leaving that park and the umpires are going home maybe for an off day or something, whatever the case may be. And but he's consistent. He's consistent in the strike zone. You're always going to get a little boost on strikes and not a boost on walks, for instance, with Laz. But he's a long timer, no nonsense guy who gives a little extra. You're going to get a little black on both sides of the plate, both right-handers, left-handers, and he gives you he'll go low before he'll go high. So if you're looking to basically fade what you said, Drew, and go under with these two guys, I think it's a little bit of risk anyway at 9, because everything you guys have said about Rodriguez, Erod, is he has been, if you look at his game logs, something about this Houston team, we know what it is, and that is they don't strike out very much, and they put the bat on the ball. And his starts against Houston, even if you go back in other past years, you'll see that for the most part, where he's fairly efficient, he might have 1 walk and 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. In Houston games, you'll see 2 strikeouts or 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, where that's what Houston does. They'll work an umpire, they work a pitcher, they work the count. They want to get to a bullpen. Not a bad idea. I don't know that you really want to get Erod out tonight, guys, but it's never a bad idea to work the starter and get to the bullpen. So that said, I think the value tonight's absolutely on your equation. And Houston, they are in a night where I think you're also at an advantage if you have the better defense, which Houston does, especially in the outfield if Myers is out there tonight. And that's the plan, is he's going to make his first appearance since hurting himself in the LDS, as opposed to the Orlando, and now it's ALCS. So that said, 15-mile-an-hour winds, 10 to 15-mile-an-hour cross winds from left field foul pole to the right field foul pole. Laz Diaz issuing a little larger strike zone. I think all the advantages are Iroquois, because Erod is a guy who nitpicks a lot anyway. So if I'm on this game, I'm on Houston plus 102, as you mentioned.
I like it, Tony. Good analysis there. And guys, to make it official for my best bet for the video, I am on the Houston Astros plus 102. It's a client play, so no need to get it at $9 Monday, WagerTalk.com, which all handicappers plays discounted to just $9. I like the Houston Astros side mainly because we're getting a plus price with the number one lineup in baseball. Against lefties, against righties, it really doesn't matter. Erod, averages, I think, kind of being nice when you look at his numbers. He's pretty much average pitcher in MLB, so I think he's going to have a rough go of it. Of course, being a lefty, they're in Fenway. I think the Houston Astros are going to be putting up some crooked numbers. Not that Boston won't get to Houston at some point. I think they're going to put up some numbers too. It's just percentage-wise, guys, I think the Houston Astros win this game, more than 5 times out of 10, putting the numbers that I've looked at anyway. So I like the Astros at the plus price, even though it's a small plus price. Plus 102 is my best bet for the show. We also got the other side of it, the Dodgers and the Braves, 2-0 Braves. Very surprising here, guys. We're going to be breaking down that game in depth on tomorrow's show with Dave Koken and Steve Merrill. But throw it around, I guess, final thoughts and best bets for the show. If you got anything, just surprises so far for the MLB playoffs, feel free to throw it out there as well. Brian, coming to you first, I guess, to finalize it here, to go on record, what's your best bet and final thoughts for the show, buddy?
Yeah, it'll be on the Houston Astros plus the 102, slight lean on the over. It is $9 Monday, and we all try to put up plays for later in the week. I've got a nice play up, a 5% play on a Wednesday, college football, nationally televised game on Wednesday. It'll be $35 tomorrow, only $9 today. And I do have my top hockey play up for tonight. It is a favorite, a lot of big favorites on today's card. So if you don't mind laying a favorite in hockey, it's yours for only $9. And by the way, this will be the last day we will have the $9 hockey. The NBA season starts tomorrow. And for the first week of the NBA season, NBA basketball will be only $9. So if you're liking these $9 plays, this will be the last day of a regular $9 price for hockey. Tomorrow, it starts in the NBA for a full week.
Absolutely. Check them out, WagerTalk.com. Bryan Leonard and Tony Finn coming to you last, buddy. Finalizing the best bet for you, and also final thoughts here overall for the MLB playoffs.
First off, best bet for tonight. I went to look at some of the propositions, and I liked, as I spoke to you, I liked Houston. I liked the starter tonight. His only outing this year, pardon me. I think Brian broke that down. 6 innings. I think it was 1 earned run and 9 strikeouts in 6 innings. I looked at Boston and how they've been in the series against the first 2 games, and they struck out 12 times. Was it Sunday? They played Saturday or Sunday, and in game 1 they struck out only 6 in 8 innings. But Uruguay's strikeout prop was 3.5, over 3.5 at plus 125. So I did a little further due diligence because typically these guys they're sharp, and I thought, well, maybe they're going to limit Uruguay because he hasn't pitched since the 3rd of October, which would be what we're talking about, a little over 2 weeks, right, guys? 2 weeks and a couple days. And I found no indication of that. In fact, I found several quotes from Dusty that said that there was going to be no limits on Uruguay, that he'll be out there as long as he's effective. And so, as would be the case with any pitcher. So my best bet would be take a stab at this plus 20-25 price on Uruguay over 3.5 strikeouts. This is the Boston team that's not typical of Boston. Old Boston teams would work the pitch count considerably hard, and they've been much more selective. That's not who this team is, and I like that over 3.5. As far as my thoughts go on the rest of the series, I did a lot of I did some radio this weekend, and last weekend we talked a lot about the Dave Roberts situation in L.A., and I have a favorite watering hole here where it's one of my wife's stores. It's a little pub canner. It's with a little some good bar food. And long story short is I like going there because there's some guys in there. The guys that played for UNLV baseball played with Harper, and Harper was here and there when the UNLV baseball coach, passed recently. But there's also a gentleman in there who's an LA guy, and I've known him for quite a while. And we don't text, we don't call, we don't share. He's 10 years my senior, and which makes him 120, maybe in 110. And we're both every day's Friday. Every day's a good day when we wake up. But he's got a lot of connections. his niece is married to Dan Fouts. So when I walked in on him, he was talking to Fouts, but he had just gotten off the phone and he was talking. He's a big Dodgers fan. He had season tickets for years, and so he talks a little bit about Roberts. And he said if everything went to, everything goes as planned as that should be this year, he thought that they weren't going to, that they wouldn't fire or dismiss or demote, should I say, or move Roberts into the front office. His contract's up. His contract's up next year, and he believes that it's difficult. That's a difficult situation to, even though every baseball guy he knows, every baseball guy I know is not fond of Roberts. Doesn't think he's more of a player's coach. The players love him, but they don't like his moves. The other day when Taylor came up, he'd been hitting fly balls, for instance, all night. And they needed that run from third base, that sacrifice fly or whatever the case was, an insurance run when they were up 2-1, and he's bunting. He bunted a fly ball to the first baseman. So that said, he's not a big Roberts fan, and my thinking of the series is I'm very disappointed for him, and I'm for the LA fans, because to lose the first 2 games against this Atlanta club, I can accept the Fried loss. Fried is the best left-hander in baseball when his curve's working, and he pitched pretty well. Gave up 2 runs, 5 or 6 innings in that game 1. But yesterday's loss was that put him down 2-0. Was a situation where the Dodgers were the Dodgers, that they left a lot of runners on base because they're the worst situational hitting team, and secondly, because they're not the best defensive team either. And that hit that kind of spurred those runs missed the pitcher a little bit, and then who was it? It should have been snagged by the receiver, the second baseman, and it wasn't. And it's not the first time that they've had some error issues. So that's my thoughts on the series, and I've gone on long enough. I think the Dodgers might be in a little bit of trouble. I really do, even though they're they're better team, top to bottom, pitching staff, positional players, et cetera, et cetera. I don't, however, think that they are better coached. So over 3.5, Uruguay. Stay away from the Dodgers.
All right, he's Tony Finn, ladies and gentlemen, and guys. In recap for the best bets, we got Astros plus 102 from myself and Bryan Leonard lining up there on the Houston Astros. So let's go Stros tonight. Your liquidity over 3.5 strikeouts for Tony Finn. And Tony Finn, just real quickly, because we're up against it time-wise, what's the price on that 3.5 strikeouts?
Plus 125.
Okay, plus price there on the
Yes.
over for the strikeouts. So
Yes.
Good stuff from Bryan Leonard and Tony Finn. Huge shout out to the chat box, Eric in the house, Jim as well, Jessica, Aces, Jeff, all you guys, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. Please smash that like button on your way out. Feel free to comment below if you're watching on replay, guys. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll be back tomorrow breaking down the NLCS, the Dodgers trying to come back from that 2-0 lead. But enjoy the game tonight, Houston and Boston. Guys, best of luck with your bets. Thanks for tuning in.
Thousands of you enjoyed the NHL opening week $9 special, so it's only fair that we offer the NBA fans the same deal. Every NBA daily package for the opening week through Monday, October 25th is just $9. That's right, you will not be paying $25 for a package, nor will you be paying $35 for 5% best bets for the opening week of the NBA, as all daily basketball packages are only $9. Make sure to tune in every Monday through Friday for the NBA tip-off show on WagerTalk TV, and then save and start the NBA season with a slam dunk deal.